Hello, my friends, and welcome back to a new film study. Today we got Alexis Arguello versus Jim Watt, and I want to do this video because Jim Watt is a southpaw, and I said in the previous video that I want to do a study on Arguello versus a southpaw, so it's a good fight to use. I've watched this fight maybe 4 to 5 months ago twice, so not very fresh in my memory, but we shall see what goes on. Now, like I mentioned, Arguello, he beat a lot of southpaws. Southpaws seem to never annoy him. He beat Cornelius Boza Edwards, Jim Watt, another few guys that I forgot their names. So he's a great guy to study for southpaws. Now, I said versus Ray Mancini that Arguello takes the first round or two to really study the opponent. Tries different things, puts that jab out there. Here he's actually throwing the right hand a little bit earlier. Not sure if that's because he's a southpaw and he wants to land that right hand right away or what's going on. We'll keep track of his footwork, his punch choice. With Ray Mancini, he used the left hand a lot in the earlier rounds. Then he switched to the right hand and went back to the left hand. And then at the end, used both simultaneously. Here he seems to be throwing the right hand a little bit more, and my only guess is because that's what you do against a southpaw is you throw the right hand. I think Jim Watt was later the commentator. Jim Watt. I really like that commentator. If it is him, I think it is him. He's one of my favorite commentators. Now, this is about the third right hand that Alexis has thrown in the first round. Always amazes me, like fighters like Arguello and these guys, how they can land a right hand so easily in the first round. So when I see them land a right hand, I kind of just keep replaying it, and I see, because Jim Watt right now should be on point. He should see punches coming. He should be watching out for that right hand. Let's watch the front foot of Arguello, see if he sneaks it up while he's doing these little hand movements. He kind of sneaks it up a lot. But yeah, third right hand in the first round. He for sure didn't do that against the orthodox fighter Mancini. Another reason it's good to study Arguello because he didn't like to throw punches unless there was a point or a reason to throw a punch. So it was easier to study him. He didn't throw too many punches for no reason, so you could kind of read what he was doing. Here he jabs and then kind of pulls his hand down, pulling the arm down of Jim Watt. And there he could have landed that right hand, but I think Jim Watt was watching for it, so boom. And that was kind of a feint for that right hand, that little dip he did. I believe this fight must have been in England because the TV, Eurosport TV. And it looks like an English ring, the ropes. There he goes with the right hand to the body. So far he threw about 3 right hands to the head. Let's watch his foot, how he's going to close the distance. You see those little hand moves that he's doing? So watch their feet. Oh, the bar's here. So watch, if you could see my mouse thing, watch Jim Watt's foot, watch Arguello's foot. We'll wait for this to go away. Okay, let's see. Frame by frame. And see how he jabs and he kind of pulled like he just did in the sequence before that. Kind of jabs and pulls his jab down. Gets low, and I think Jim Watt was waiting for a right hand to the head, but he went to the body. So that's 3 to the head, 1 to the body with the right hand. He's jabbing at the jab of Jim Watt a lot. I like doing this if someone has a good right hand or a good jab, no matter their stance, because it doesn't let them get off their jab. It ruins their... you can kind of move in and kind of be sure you're not getting hit with the jab, unless you see them like move their hand away and try to come over the top with their own. But just jabbing at the opponent's jab, something I like to do a lot, kind of throws them off. Takes away their hand for a bit, forces them to use the other hand. And that's it for round one. So we had 3 right hands to the head, 1 to the body. Opposed to when he fought the Orthodox fighter. Well, he only did 1 fight of his versus Orthodox, which was Ray Mancini. He didn't really throw much right hands for a lot of the rounds. He just used the left hand because he didn't need the right hand. So that tells you that he chooses the right punch for different opponents. He doesn't use the same punches, the same game plan for every opponent, which makes him a difficult fighter to face because he's ready to adapt. A little small thing. There goes another right hand. And you see how he does all that jerky movement? He's moving. He's like not sure that he's going to throw the right hand. All of that is, I believe, is to cover distance. Now, this is something Lomachenko does. A lot of guys do. Joe Frazier used to do. Anything with really good anybody with really good head movement. And what you do is you move your head before the punch comes at you. Okay? So I call this forcing someone's hand. So if nothing's happening and I move my head like Arguello to the left, Jim Watt has to respond. He either has to throw his right hand to protect his right side, he has to take a step back, he has to move away, he has to do something, and Arguello's forcing him to do something without throwing a punch, just by doing that little slip. See, Jim Watt has to stick his arm out. Okay, this is forcing someone's hand. So you slip to a certain side, like here Arguello slips to the right side of Jim Watt, and he forces him to use the right hand. So it's forcing his hand, forcing a punch out of him. Now he comes in with that jab, touches the glove, doesn't really want to land it, and then steps in. Bang. Clean, perfectly placed right hand. Beautiful. So forcing someone's hand, don't always wait for the punch to be thrown to move your head. Sometimes move your head before and it forces a punch out of your opponent. I think Mike Tyson did it, I'm not sure. But I know Joe Frazier did it because he's always bobbing and weaving. So you can put pressure on someone with just your defense as much as you can do it with your punches. But don't always be a reactionary defensive fighter. Sometimes be offensive with their defense, if that makes sense. I know it doesn't sound like it should make sense. See that? He did that slip again. He forced that jab out of Jim Watt. Jim Watt has to respond. If he just doesn't do anything, then Arguello knows they could just keep moving that way and then start throwing maybe left uppercuts. See, I'm not sure who jabbed or slipped first. We'll see that again. So same thing again. Slipping. Jim Watt has to throw the punch. Now, what can Arguello do from here? Not much, but later on he could throw that. When he does the slip, he could pop the right hand to the head, or he can come up with the left uppercut once he really closes distance, or he could go right hand to the body, kind of like a slip jab but with the right hand. So like from here he would just pop out that right hand. We'll see if I'm not sure if he does it in this fight, but we shall see. Manny Pacquiao does that. He puts his weight on his right leg and then he shoots the left hand. So he moves his head, moves his weight to the lead leg, and then he pops his backhand. We'll see if Arguello does it here. Now you see the different types of jabs he's throwing. There's jabs that he's throwing just at the gloves, touching the gloves, taking away rhythm. Okay, let's see. So the jabs he was doing before were just touching jabs. Now he's actually throwing purposeful jabs, really sticking them to the stomach, sticking it to the face, and then he hooks off the jab and pushes Jim Watt to into his right hand. Nice left hook again. So there's touching jabs where you just want to touch the other person's gloves or whatever, and then there's purposeful jabs where you really want to pop that jab into the stomach, pop it into the face. Don't always throw the jab at the same pace. That rhymed. Okay, I'll shut up. Okay, let's go. Now he's pressing the effort a little bit more than he was in the first beginning. Now this is a punch that he did a lot, or threw a lot, or this is a combination that he threw a lot against Ray Mancini, which is he would throw that left uppercut. And the reason he throws this left uppercut is because Jim Watt knows that any fighter knows when they see this uppercut coming, they're not going to slip into the uppercut, of course, because that'd be counterintuitive to what they've been taught their whole life. So if you see a punch coming, you don't slip towards it. So Arguello likes to throw this uppercut, and he takes up this space right here between him and Jim Watt. He takes away the lower space, so Jim Watt has to stand up. So he kind of, even if he's leaning forward a bit, he has to kind of lean back. And then by leaning back like there, okay, and it's also a measuring stick. Now Arguello has Jim Watt perfectly set up to where he wants him to be for his right hand, which is there. And this is what he did against Ray Mancini. Same idea, but different person. See? Now that punch, you know he's not trying to land it because how loose it is, and then where he stops it. See how he stops it here? Doesn't really go all the way. He's not throwing it with mean intentions. So he does that slip that we talked about, pops that left hand, and then pops that right hand. Gets a jab to the face back. But yeah, sometimes, I like to do this sometimes. I know fighters like to do this, is you throw a wide hook. Same idea as the uppercut, but you throw a wide hook to the head of the opponent. Now the opponent has to respond. They don't know if this hook is hard, especially if you do this for the first time. You'll either see them block it, you'll either see them lean back from it, you'll see them go under. And that will tell you how they're going to react when you throw more hooks at them. So next time I throw a hook, I know maybe Jim Watt's going to go under. So I could throw the left hook, not as hard, but then I'll throw a right uppercut right away because I know Jim Watt's going to be ducking under. Same idea with the left uppercut. That made Jim Watt lean back, and then Arguello could throw the right hand. If he threw a left hook and Jim Watt leaned back, then next time he could throw the right hand. If Arguello threw the hook and Jim Watt blocked it with his guard, then Arguello could come in with the right hand between the guard. So I like throwing throwaway punches that are like hooks and uppercuts that seem scary, but there's no real weight behind them. Now here again, Arguello is moving before and forcing Jim Watt to jab at him. He's not waiting for the jab to move his head. He's the one moving his head, and then the jab comes out. Okay, this is what I call offensive defense, which sounds pretty stupid, but it is what it is. I thought he did that left uppercut thing again. And you see how he constantly moves his head off to the slips left, even though, like I said a bunch of times before, Jim Watt isn't throwing the jab, but he's just moving. See that? He's trying to force something out of Jim Watt. Jim Watt. But he's not slipping to the right. I haven't seen him slip to the right much. See, he's getting the jab of Jim Watt active. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's moving his head. Here he dips down to the right side in front of the left hand of Jim Watt. And Jim Watt here, he could have threw a left hand, but I think he's pretty nervous at this point. Or not nervous, I'm not sure. I can't call him scared. There goes that right. Let's see if, so I said Manny Pacquiao, what he does is he would put his weight onto the lead leg. So this is different. Manny Pacquiao would put his weight on the lead leg like this, and then he would throw the backhand like a jab. And there's two ways to do it. You could do that. So you could put the weight onto the left leg or the lead leg and then pop it like a jab, because now the shoulder's forward. Or you do it this way, which is the more regular way, is as you put your weight kinda, and it becomes like a fork in the road. So your head goes this way, your punch goes this way, and it's like a fork in the road. Your body takes a separate turn, so your body's going to take the exit on the left, or your body's going to keep going down the highway, and then the right hand is going to take the exit on the right. Okay. Beautiful technique. Manny Pacquiao does it same idea, different way. He puts his weight onto that lead leg, and then he pops his backhand like a jab, his left hand. And that's time for this round. If I had a camera, I could show it more, but think of a fork in the road. There's a highway, there's the exit, or just a real fork in the road. The body goes one way with the head, and the hand comes out on its own. That's how you avoid getting countered with the opponents. In this case, it's a jab. If they're in the same stance, it would be the other opponent's backhand. And we'll see why. So we have it figured out why Arguello keeps doing this. But we'll see why. Is he trying to set something up? I'm not sure. Foot positioning, he's not moving really to the outside of the foot. Let's watch that again. So the constant thing is when you ask a coach how to fight a southpaw is, keep your lead foot on the outside, circle to your left, stay on the outside, work your jab, blah, blah, blah. A lot of great fighters don't really do this. They do it when they absolutely need to. But other than that, they just treat their opponent like a regular fighter. There again, he's trying to bring down the hand. Now, I'm going to get pretty autistic here. So, he's pushing against that hand. It's like if you push someone, they're not just going to let you push them back. They want to push you forward. So here he gets Jim Watt to push on his on his lead hand. See how he pushes into his lead hand? Jim Watt pushes back. Now Jim Watt's arm is a little bit more stiff. It's easier to control, to bring down. Boom. Okay, he's getting Jim Watt to put his hand out. See how it is out here now? Now it's easier to do this too. Before, Jim Watt's hand was closer to his face. Let's see right before this. See, Jim Watt's hand was more like this. Now, Arguello is engaging in his lead hand, bringing that lead hand out. Easier to manipulate when it's out like in front of you. It's harder to manipulate when the hand like this. Jim Watt's hand is closer to his face. It's harder for Arguello to manipulate it. Takes a lot more energy, but when you have someone putting their hand out, it's easier to get it out the way or manipulate it. Look at that right hand to the chest. And you see the effects of a right hand to the chest. Let's see that again. Jab the stomach. Let's watch the footwork. So step in with the jab. Bring that right foot in and then throws the right hand. And now Jim Watt in this part, he's jumping up. I call this jumping up. He's not really jumping. He's moving back, but both feet are off the ground. And there's nothing you can do when both feet are off the ground. You can't counter. You can't do anything when you're moving back and both feet are off the ground. And you're getting caught, especially in your chest. You're just going to get pushed back. Okay. This is why you want to step back. You don't want to jump back. I did this video, same type of video on an Italian fighter a while back. He was jumping back. He got caught with the uppercut and he literally flew and then he fell on. It was really bad. It looked like a really bad KO. Jumps up, catches him in the air. I don't think Arguello meant to time Jim Watt as he was in the air. But see, Jim Watt does it again right after. Oh, let's see. Sorry, this video I've been pausing a lot and replaying slow motion a lot, but I like doing this stuff. Okay, let's see here. See this? But not good. Okay, especially against a guy like Arguello that's gonna take advantage. I'm not sure if he noticed that, but I doubt it. He was just trying to hit him. See, jumps up, both feet in the sky, in the air, I mean. Again, goes in for the jab, jumps up, gets caught, jumps back again. So you do not want to jump back. Only time I jump back is when I'm getting really far and it's desperate. Someone's swinging a big left hook and I got to get out the way. Or a big right hand, I'll jump out. But usually jump out far enough where I can get countered. But small jumps backwards is not the thing you want to do, especially against a puncher like Arguello. Because he will catch you in the air. And when you're in the air, there's nothing you can do. You don't have any. You can't throw a punch. You can't counter. You can't move out the way. You see, this is how you want to move. 1 foot on the ground. So right foot is in the air for Arguello. Left foot is on the ground. Right foot touches the ground. Left foot shoots forward. Left foot touches the ground. Right foot in the air. And this is what I always tell beginners, especially. You only want to move your feet. If my mouse is on the right foot of Arguello, you only want to lift your foot up only so you could slip a piece of paper between your foot on the ground. That's all you need. The foot doesn't have to be up here. It's ridiculous. Just like this, just barely getting off the canvas so your foot isn't dragging on the canvas, but that's as high as you want. I'll wait for this thing to go. So left foot touches the ground, right foot in the air. Right foot touches the ground, left foot in the air. You always want to have 1 foot on the canvas. This is what my coach used to tell me, or tell us in the class. That way, even if you get hit, you have some support on the ground. Oh, that's beautiful. Left hook and then the left uppercut. Beautiful punches. That was a nice getting out of there by Jim Watt. He's doing the slip again. Arguello is a slip to the left. Let's see here if he does that fork in the throws the right hand as he turns, or if he turns and then, by turns I mean puts his weight forward. So this is what Manny Pacquiao does more of. He puts his weight forward, and then he pops the backhand like this. Okay, the two different ones is the one previous, if you remember what I was talking about. The way Arguello did it is he would throw the right hand about here. The right hand would be coming out already. Here, he's putting weight on his front leg. See how the weight's here? And then now he pops that right hand forward. Okay, so two different ways to throw it for two different reasons. And also the reason, for example, when Arguello, I won't replay it, sorry. When Arguello was slipping to the left, that could have been a reason why. He's getting Jim Watt used to just seeing Arguello slip to the left. Now he slips to the left and then pops a right hand after the slip. Like that slip, and then he pops a right hand. And I always talk about using the tools you need for the job. Don't bring any extra tools. A beginner, a handyman, brings all his tools to work every day because he doesn't know what tools he needs on the job. Experienced handyman can see what the job, and from experience, he'll bring enough tools for the job, but not too much, where he's carrying around useless tools. And Alexis Arguello uses the right tools. He uses the jab, a little bit of uppercuts and hooks, and he throws that straight right hand. That's basically all he needs to fight Jim Watt, with feints, with the addition of feints and changing levels. Sorry, let's read. That's only 10, and I guess round 3 just ended. I was like, how is it round 10 and it's only 10 minutes? Should be at least 12, but round 10 is just starting, so I'm not good at math. Let's see why Jim Watt, he didn't really use his right hand. The only time he uses right hand like this is when Arguello was pushing against it. Let's see what happens here. So like I said, when someone's guard is like this, it's a lot harder for Arguello to reach out and manipulate his guard. Manipulating, I mean like bringing it down, pulling it down. But because Jim Watt, in the previous sequence, if you remember, he had his hand out to here, it's a lot easier for Arguello to push it down because Jim Watt has less control over it. So those jabs will just keep Arguello away from coming in. No, like I said, in the Mancini fight, Arguello was usually I think 80% or 70% of the fight, he was the counter going back. Here, I didn't see Jim Watt coming forward once. So a fighter that can change his, he could fight moving forward and moving back. See how he's just annoying Jim Watt with his left hand? Now Jim Watt is only using this left hand to keep him away. He's not even using it to set up his own left hand. See that? Jim Watt hasn't used his jab to land a left hand yet. And that's because Arguello keeps him busy using it for defense. See, he touched it right there again. No, that was a jab to the face. Sorry. Now, Jim Watt sees the right hand is coming. He goes down, dips down, and Arguello meets him right there. Beautiful. This is the video I made for Instagram, was this, and then the sequence after that, I think. Yeah. Left uppercut. There he goes, that left uppercut again. The one I talked about, he did it against Mancini, and he did in this fight before. Those that left uppercut not to land it, but here he can land it. It's later in the fight. He actually lands it. Picks his head up, throws that right hand. Right hand lands on the chest. You could see his chest pushed back. This is one of my favorite areas or parts of the fight is here. Let's see. So he sees Jim Watt go down, waits for him to come up. Left hook, right hand. And this is what I said when someone blocks your left hook, is when someone blocks your left hook, in between their guard is open for that straight. Goes down again, I think. Let's see what happened. Comes up, right hand. So I clipped this part of the fight on my Instagram channel. I'm playing it in slow motion to show how Arguello doesn't waste any punches. There's it, right hand again. Well over 20 right hands he's thrown in this fight in the fourth round. He threw 4 alone in the first round. And he picked up the pace in the second, third, and fourth. So I'm guessing at least 20. I don't think Jim Watt threw one left hand. There goes that left uppercut again. Oh, look, what I said came to life. So here, I remember before we were asking why Arguello keeps slipping to the outside, gets that right hand, and I said maybe later on when he gets his distance a little bit better, he'll be able to throw that left uppercut. So here moves in, Jim Watt counters with that jab, trying to keep him away, throws that left uppercut. I think it was more to the body, but Jim Watt steps back, and then he catches him with that right hand. So now we know the answer to why he kept slipping to the outside. And he also slipped to the outside, then popped his backhand. Nice feint. I think that was the only time Jim Watt came forward in this fight. Okay, now Jim Watt's throwing the left hand. Let's see this right hand, if he threw it while he was moving his head, or he moved his head then threw it. So he moves his weight and then pops it. So from here, if Jim Watt threw a jab, Arguello could have also went with the left uppercut and then the right hand, but I think he was already meaning to throw the right hand before. He was already planning it. So he's just keeping the jab of Jim Watt busy. Jim Watt is basically fighting with one hand, which is the left hand. Nice right hand. He can't really use the jab because Arguello's just keeping it busy. See how he just keeps touching it, pulling it down, pushing his left hand back, his lead hand. He's just keeping his jab busy, so he can't really use it like he would want to. Nice right uppercut. Showing a nice feint. Before we said that Arguello only was slipping to the outside, but now he's doing that little feint to the inside. Boom, right here. At this point, I think earlier, maybe at the beginning of the round, Arguello was already in Jim Watt's head. If you see someone bite on every feint, so respecting someone's feint is acknowledging that the feint happened and maybe feinting back. But when you see someone react poorly, which is very defensive to a feint, you know that the other fighter is getting in their head. See, he jabs and then he went. Sees that left uppercut. So he's working both sides. He's working the inside with the right hand and he's working the outside with the left hand by slipping left and doing that. Beautiful. Right uppercut when Jim Watt stepped to his left. Or to Arguello's right. There goes that right hand again. And then caught him with the left hook again. And like I said, in other fights, you'll see Arguello moving backwards most of the fight. Then at the end, he'll come forward. Here, he's been on the move forward for majority of the fight, but he'll step back sometimes. Now, the reason I think he's doing this is to, if he was to come back, say someone with a good jab, will start using that jab and popping and using his left hand. But when he comes forward and he keeps the right hand of Jim Watt busy, he's taking away Jim Watt's chance to really focus on boxing or like punching back. So he's just putting so much pressure that Jim Watson is thinking more survival than using his jab, because Arguello is keeping his jab busy by touching it, pulling it down, feinting left, and he's keeping it busy. He's taking his mind off Watt actually using his jab as a punch. Let's see here. Did he slip first, or this is like the chicken? This fight is like the chicken and the egg. Did Arguello slip first, or did the jab come first? I'll give them. I think Jim Watt was still reacting because he saw it, and he goes with that left uppercut again. I think Jim Watt saw that Arguello was stepping in, and then he just popped the jab. Again, you see that? Now, from this angle, what punches did Arguello throw in this fight? He threw the left uppercut. He threw the lead right. Okay, so just from this point, he could throw a lead right, throw the lead uppercut, then a right hand. He could go to the body. And you see, like, many times in the fight, Jim Watt answers with a jab after the slip. Now, what I believe Jim Watt should have done is put his left hand in front of his face, cover up from that right hand, and use this one as a right uppercut. So from here, pop the jab and pull it back an inch and just drive it upwards into the chin of Arguello. Even if it doesn't land, it keeps Arguello from slipping left. Nice jab. See how Arguello keeps slipping to the left. Like I said in the first round, I call this forcing the opponent's hand. You're forcing him to do a certain thing that you want him to do, so you can build on that. Counter, maybe throw a punch from there. See? Let's watch that again. Now here, Jim Watt, I think, jabs first, and Arguello slips. So it's a more committed jab from Watt. Body with left, right hand to the head. Jab hook, beautiful jab hook. There he slips under the left hand. Arguello does. I've never watched any other fights of Jim Watt. I think maybe after this fight I might have watched one or two, but I do not remember. I'll have to rewatch some or watch some Jim Watt fights to see how he naturally fights. But the way I'm just guessing that Arguello is forcing him back, so Jim Watt can't use his jab the way he would maybe want to. See, now that's something good that Jim Watt did here. Before, when Arguello would slip to the left like that, Jim Watt would kind of just paw at him with the right hand just to keep him away. Jab, that was nice. What I would do is jab, right uppercut. So turn that jab, just flip up, palm up, and then jab the uppercut upwards into the chin of Arguello. That may be a left hand to the body. But the amount of Jim Watt gets respect as a commentator and as a fighter, I believe he would have had to been a good fighter, at least, to deserve that respect. So I'm guessing he wasn't no slouch. Nice. There's a left hand from. I was about to say Buchanan. I was thinking about Scottish fighters. See, Arguello threw a lazy jab. A nice counter from Mr. Watt. And that's the 5th round. Did Jim Watt are they in the same timeline? Did Jim Watt fight Ken Buchanan? Were they the same weight? Let me see. I'm just gonna pause this and search up Jim Watt versus Ken. Oh, in 1973, Buchanan started out by beating future world lightweight champion Jim Watt by a decision after 15 rounds. To regain the British lightweight title, soon he embarked on another international tour. Oh, wow. Oh, they did fight. Scottish. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be... I'll have to watch that soon. So I guess I already know the results. It was a 15-round decision, but... because they have very similar hands-up style, I'll have to see that fight. Nice body to the right hand to the body by Mr. Arguello. See, this is why I try to. You even have to teach this to not even I was gonna say beginners, but even advanced fighters or anybody in general is not every punch is to hurt. If every punch is to hurt, you'll never be successful in that setting up traps. Okay, so here we see Arguello do that slip before, and then the jab comes by Jim Watt. Now Jim Watt's actually being more aggressive with his jabs in retaliation to after Arguello slips. See that? This is what I talk about in the first round. Touch your opponent's glove, even if they're southpaw or if you're the same stance. Touch his gloves. By touching your weapon and punching your weapon, you're not going to be able to use your weapon as smoothly as you want it, because I'm literally punching at it. So Jim Watt can't just pop his jab. Arguello is ruining. He's just messing around with him, basically. His defense and his offense. So you got to be able to do this as a fighter. Stay calm. Just punch the glove sometimes. See, he knows nothing's going to come out of that. He's just playing with him. Bang. Oh, I thought he was going to throw a right hand, but he didn't. But yeah, play with punch the other guy's gloves. Don't always go for the head. Punch the chest. George Foreman loved saying that. Punch the chest with the jab or the right hand. Punch the shoulders. Aim for the top of the head. Make them go down and throw a right hand low. Do different things with the jab. Don't always just try to land the jab. If it's power or speed, don't try to land it all the time. Comedians and boxers are very much the same. There's setups. They'll set you up as the joke goes by, as the fight goes by. There's a setup. There's a reason they're telling this part of the story. There's a reason that Arguello's been slipping left maybe 50 times by now without a jab being thrown at him. What happened? I'm not sure. Maybe an elbow? Elbow? And you see where Arguello is aiming that right hand. He's not aiming it for the face. Right for the chest, right under the chin, neck, chest area. Really pushing Jim Watt back. I like doing that with the jab, a stiff jab right under the neck, around the chest plate. It really puts a stop to someone or pushes them back. Forces their weight backwards. It's different than hitting them to the head. Nice hand, right hand to the head. Nice right hand switch. I'm not sure if Jim Watt's trying to tire Arguello out, or he's fighting a little bit scared. Not like I said, I don't like saying someone's fighting scared, but fighting worried. He's worried from the punches he's about to receive. It's kind of like Frank Martin versus Gervonta. Up to a certain point, he was fighting. You could just tell he's just waiting for that big punch to land on him because he just knew. Sometimes if you're in there with someone better than you or just punches really hard, you kind of just have a feeling that big punch is going to come. Some fighters may not fold under pressure. They might fight a little bit more worried. There's Arguello pulling the lead hand of Jim Watt down, jabbing and pulling down to land that right hand, but again, too far away, just fakes it. Steps off to the right to cut him off again. And that is time. I believe that was a 6th round. Yeah, so setups, don't always punch the head, punch the glove sometimes. Don't always move your head after the punch comes at you. Move your head before. You could force someone to throw a punch that you want, so you could potentially throw a counter to that punch that you want them to throw. Don't always be extra aggressive. Although Arguello is moving forward, he's touching the gloves of his opponent. He's not always going for the kill. Punching right under the chin, right under the neck, that chest plate pushes someone back. Arguello starting using different tools than he did against Mancini. Against Mancini, it was a lot of left uppercuts, hooks, jabs, a little bit of right hands for some time. Then he had the right hand. Here he started with 4 right hands in the first round, and then by the 4th or 5th, he threw, I'd say he threw well over 20 right hands by now. That wasn't the case with Mancini, so you can tell that he really learns his opponent in the first or second round if he hasn't already watched film on them. What else? Don't move both feet in the air at the same time. 1 foot, 1 foot. If you're going to jump back, you got to get really far so you don't get caught and at the right time. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be back with part 2. Oh, this is 51 minutes. Sorry for talking your ears off, and I'll see you guys again. Have a good day. Bye.